Dante's Divine Comedy, Inferno, Canto the 14th.
I remember the trees that people who committed suicide got turned into, and if you break off parts of them, they're in pain, but that's the only time they can speak to you.
They were by that bush. You remember
Yes.
the suicide. Dante is a little bit moved to know that this guy came from the same town as him. So he kind of like gathers up some of like the broken branches and leaves and kind of like pushes them up on as if to like give them back to him. But like there's not really anything he can do. So to me, it feels very comical. They eventually come to the end of the wood. You remember the seventh circle is divided into 3 sections. We've gone through the first 2, and now he sees the third. And the third is this giant desert. The sand is burning hot. Not only is there the desert, but it's actually, I kid you not, raining fire from the sky on top of them the entire time.
Good grief. So this is a section for people who had violence against God, correct?
Yes, it's for blasphemers who are stretched out on the sand, sodomites who are walking, and usurers. Blasphemers are specifically people who are violent against God. Sodomites are violent against nature, and usurers are violent against art. He sees one specific person who's laying down, and what's crazy about this guy is, like, he's looking up at the fire that's falling on him and, like, continuing to, like, curse God the entire time. Dante asks who he is. The first thing Virgil actually does is he insults him. Like, Dante asks who he is, and Virgil looks at him, and he has to take a moment to just himself talk about how much he hates this guy. Like, this guy's just so terrible.
I feel like the wife of Job would be in here somewhere.
That could be. That could be. I mean, it fits the idea of violent against God for sure. What becomes evident very quickly is they're not going to be able to walk across this themselves. First of all, it's extremely hot sand. Second, it's raining fire from the sky. There's no way they can cross it. So they walk alongside it, still on the edge of the woods for a while. Eventually, they come to this big red river. And the river is flowing out across the desert. And wherever it crosses the desert, the sand on the side is turned into stone, big enough so that there's a path that they can walk on. And the heat from the red river is evaporating the fire rain. So not only is there stone here to walk on, but there's no fire rain falling in this particular spot.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty clear this is going to be the place where they're going to be able to walk across. He asks Virgil where this river comes from. And he tells him this weird little story. There's this giant made of different kinds of metals. His head is made of gold. His chest is made of silver, and both his arms are made of silver. His torso is made of brass. His legs themselves are made of iron, all the way down to his feet, except that his right foot is made of terracotta.
Oh, this is reminiscent of the vision of Nebuchadnezzar. It's in Daniel 2:24 through 45.
I thought it sounded biblically familiar.
He had a dream about this statue of a man made of 4 metals. The head was made of pure gold, the chest and arms were silver, the belly were bronze, the legs were iron, and the feet of the statue were partially iron and partially terracotta or baked clay. Every
Every single part of him has a crack in it, except for the golden head, and from each crack flows a river. He says Acheron, Phlegethon, and Styx. You remember Styx? That was the swamp. Phlegethon was that boiling red river where all the people were up to like their heads and stuff. So Dante's like, that's a cool story, but which river is this? Virgil actually reminds him, like, you should know what river this is. This is the same river we saw all the people who were, boiling in the first part. So you've seen this one before.
Okay, I was wondering about that when you said that it was a red river. Yeah.
Anyways, Virgil says, well, this is where we're going to pass through the third part of the circle. So they get onto the stone, they start walking, and that is the end of this canto.